Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. So today I'm making some chicken and dumplings, fall recipes. Alright y'all, so this is what we're going to need for our chicken and dumplings. Now, I'm using a whole young chicken. You can use just chicken thighs, chicken breasts, whatever you want to use, whatever you can find. Some celery, onion, garlic, and better than bouillon. And a lot of people put carrots in theirs. I don't put carrots in mine because I just don't like it. But you can certainly put carrots in it as well. The key to a good chicken and dumplings is the stock. So you really want to put a lot of effort into your stock, and you're going to do season with salt, pepper, garlic powder, whatever you want to use. But you definitely need a stock. Even if you use like a broth, a chicken broth, cook your chicken in it to really fortify that stock, the base for your chicken and dumplings. Okay, so let's get started. So in a large pot, I'm gonna add my a whole onion, some celery, and some garlic, and then I added half the chicken because I don't need the whole thing. I want everything to somewhat be covered. You're gonna season this: salt, pepper, chicken bouillon, or better than bouillon, and then garlic powder, onion powder, whatever seasonings you want to add. I usually keep it very simple. You can use carrots and peas in it if you want to. That is totally and completely up to you. I let this cook for about an hour. I want the chicken very tender. I want it falling apart, able to pull apart. And I let it go. Off to the side, I'm going to dice up some onion and celery and put it to the side for later. So once your chicken is ready, you're going to pull it out and you're going to pull those onions and celery out. So now this is very concentrated. This stock is very concentrated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water to top it off because it's extremely, extremely concentrated and salty. So I'm going to add some water to tone it down a bit so that we'll have enough liquid for our dumplings. Reserve about 3/4 of a cup of this stock. Put it off to the side for your dumplings. And I'm just going to pull my chicken apart and add it back to the pot. You don't want the skin. You want to remove the skin. And I'm just taking the chicken off the bone as much as you can get off. And adding it back into the pot. I add mine back to the pot because I don't want to put the chicken back on top of the dumplings. Some people do that. You can if you want. Now in a skillet, I'm going to melt about 2 tablespoons of butter. And this is where I'm going to saute my vegetables. Now you can add, again, you can use carrots if you want. This is where you would add them with the onions and celery. I don't do that, but like I said, you can. You're going to saute this and then let this go. All right, so once your vegetables have cooked for a few minutes, I let them cook about 5 minutes, just until they start to get soft. I go ahead and I add in my 2 tablespoons of flour. And I let that cook for about another 5 minutes before adding it into my pot with my chicken. Okay, so I'm adding the vegetables and my roux back into my pot with my chicken, and I'm just gonna mix it up so that this is just gonna thicken it just a little bit. I don't like mine super thick. If you want it thicker, you can absolutely do 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 tablespoons of flour if you prefer. And then I just let this simmer while I get my dumplings ready. And here's what you're going to need for your dumplings. You're going to need shortening, some of your stock, baking powder, and some flour, and I use chives as well. And then the chives are optional. You can just dice those up or chop them up. And add them to a bowl. Okay, so in a separate bowl, I am going to make my dumplings. I have my all-purpose flour in this bowl, and I am just going to add in all my ingredients: shortening, salt, baking powder, and a little bit of the chicken stock at a time. I ended up not even using all of it. The recipe will be in the description box for this whole recipe. So I'm adding in the chives. Again, the chives are optional. And so I'm going to use a fork and cut my shortening into the flour. If you want to use butter, you can use butter. My shortening was just already room temperature, so I just use shortening. It's perfectly fine with shortening. All right, so I was trying to see if I had already put my baking powder in there. I couldn't remember if I had or not. I had not, so. But yeah, so I'm going to get ready to go ahead and cut my shortening in there. I'm going to have to get a spatula because we all know that the fork method is not going to work with the spatula, with the getting the shortening out of the cup. But you're just going to cut this into the flour with the fork. All right, so here we go. So here I am with my stock. Like I said, you add a little bit at a time just until it comes together where you can form a ball. All right, so it's just about there. See, I only ended up using about a half a cup of the stock. All right, so now we're gonna roll it out and put some flour on the counter, clean countertop, clean hands, clean rolling pan. Shouldn't have to say that, but apparently some people think folks don't wash their hands because they don't. Yeah, but anyways, here we go. And I couldn't find my pizza cutter, so I'm gonna end up using a butter knife to cut the dumplings out. I prefer these kind of dumplings over the drop dumplings. If I'm lazy, I will make the drop dumplings, but I do prefer these. I like the texture better. And I just cut them whatever size you want to cut them. And I like them a little bit thick, on the thicker side. So I don't roll out the dough as thin as most people do. I like mine to puff up a little bit. So you can roll them out as thin as you want, but I feel like they hold up better when they're a little bit thicker and they don't break up all into your stock. Now, you want to make sure your stock is just at a simmer. You don't want it boiling too fast as you're dropping your dumplings in. You're just dropping them randomly into your pot, not on top of one another, not too close to one another. And as they cook, they're cooking and you're adding more, you can move them around a little bit to make more room. But you definitely want to give them a little time to start the cooking process so they'll tighten up a little bit. And you just add as many as you want. Those for about 20 minutes. And here you go. It's done. Like at the end, you can add in the last 10 minutes, so you can add in some peas if you want. I don't do that, but you definitely can. See how thick and nice though, and how well those dumplings held up. All right, so here is my bowl of chicken and dumplings. I'm gonna top it with a little bit of chives. You don't have to do that. You can eat it with however you want to eat it, but this is how I topped it. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy the recipe. If you try it, let me know. I wish you all a wonderful week. I hope you had a great weekend, and I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.